Let's bring on Kola Karim, who is the group CEO at Shoreline Energy International. Kola is joining us from Lagos here for this conversation. Good morning to you, Mr. Karim. We appreciate your time.
No problems. Good morning.
Okay, I'm not too sure you've heard about the OPEC meeting. You are in the oil business, so this is a very important meeting that folks like you, who are CEOs, oil executives, watch very closely. Give us your reading of today's meeting.
I think the most important area they're going to focus on is a complete realignment of strategy to combating the oil downturn on the price side. One, if you look at what's been happening in the last 24 to 36 hours, everyone is trying to now go on a cutback, so that way to see how they can force a price movement on the upswing. Secondly, and most importantly, what's been happening is in North America, a lot of the shale producers, their hedges are now coming off, so you see a reverse in the growth of shale production, and that in itself will strengthen the position of the OPEC partners.
Kola, I'm sure you've listened to Saudi Arabia encouraging other members within OPEC and outside non-OPEC, Russia and others, to cut outputs. Is this likely going to happen today at this meeting?
I think everyone has no choice. On the financial position with what is happening on the global level, look at even Saudi Arabia with the reserves they have, it resulted to borrowing. Further borrowing in their economy. Look at countries like Nigeria. There is a fundamental mismatch today with the price drop vis-a-vis the economy, sustaining the economies of a lot of these countries. So it is a strategic alignment that we hope to come out of the meeting today in Austria, that all the member countries and non-member countries will have to cut back in trying to shore up the price of crude.
Where does this leave you oil producers, energy companies?
We've been bleeding the last year. You can imagine a dislocation in price from July, August last year, from $119 a barrel, and today we're talking about $43, $44. That's at 66% dislocation in price, but you can imagine production costs will not come down that fast. So you can imagine how painful structurally and also financially this has been to a lot of the oil producers.
Where do we go from here?
It's very simple. A country like Nigeria, we have a fundamental position to continue to replacing reserves and increasing our national reserves. Look, oil has always been a cyclical game. Prices are low today. Don't forget, as far back as 1989, oil in itself was in the low single digits. At the end of the day, the reality is this. A country like Nigeria, we need to replace reserves. We need to focus on increasing production. And more importantly, we need to streamline costs of production in making sure we will meet our objectives as companies.
How do you see the Minister of State's oil position today in that room in Vienna, the OPEC headquarters? I'm sure you've been there. He's holding Nigeria on one hand. He's holding OPEC on the other hand. He is the mediator, and he has to protect and promote the interests of Nigeria. Quite a difficult one there for Kachiko, isn't it?
I don't think it's much of a difficulty for the Honorable Minister of State. I think reality is Nigeria, more than ever, is in a fundamental stand position that we can make a very focused decision in doing two things. One, streamlining and energizing the oil and gas sector in Nigeria, focusing on how the proper funding will be positioned in increasing Nigeria's participation and play in production on the global level. Think about it. For the last 10 to 15 years, Nigeria's production, daily production, has been hovering between 1.8 to 2.5 million. It shouldn't be so. If you look at Angola, Angola has gone from 1, today they're almost matching Nigeria, 1.8 million barrels a day. So the Honorable Minister's position today is one to protect Nigeria's position in continuing to increase replacing reserves and increasing our production in helping our economy. But more importantly, it's focusing on the global balancing in making sure there's an enforced cutback from people like Saudi Arabia, who have gone and added over 25% in the last 4 years.
Very interesting. I think this conversation will continue on Monday. Kola Karim, thank you very much. The Monday meeting is over today. We'll find out how much has been sliced off from every member of OPEC's position. We'll talk to you in the days ahead.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate your time. Kola Karim, the Group CEO at Shoreline Energy International.